It's always there, but you don't always notice it. You control it, but only how much they let you. When it's not there, well, you feel it. When it's broken, well, you feel it. Sometimes the smallest things can make the biggest differences. As players, we don't always think of the small ways that can make games more or less responsive. When we think of responsiveness, we think of how well it plays, like fighting games. But it's important to any game possible. From my experience, it's something incredibly hard to get right. I'm James Whitcomb, and today we're looking at jumping in video games. What makes a jump responsive? Jumping is integral to many different video game genres, but it's something that's not thought about often. It's been around for decades, with one of the first ever characters to grace our screens, Jumpman. A character jump dictates a lot about how a game feels. For example, does a character float as they come down? Do they follow in a parabolic arc? Is their jump always the same? It all affects how responsive the character is. A perfect example, recently I've been playing a game called Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. It's part of my aim to play through my smaller games in my Steam library. Before you ask, I have not played the other games, and no, I have no idea what's going on. But one area that sticks in my mind is the jumping. The game was released in 2014 and was intended to be used with a controller. In fact, it was intended to be played on the DS. If you have not already played the game, it's a simple platformer. But when you jump, regardless of any variation of input, you jump for the same duration of time. If you want to jump the frame after you've landed, you can't. You have to be on the floor before you can jump again. These are design choices. The developer has decided that these weren't needed. Unfortunately, these can punish the players. The game can be made harder through a lack of control. If I want to jump a larger amount, I can put more time into it. But in this case, I can't. Design choices have limited my ability to complete this. To compare, let's take a game designed and released in 1985. Super Mario Bros. Is a perfect example of a design choice which gives the player more control over their jump. The longer you press, the higher you go, to a point. But let's have a look at how that works in the code. Here I have a disassembled version of Super Mario Bros., but I'll simplify it down. The game first checks if you are jumping or whether you want to jump. Then, it will initiate the jump if it's the first time, but it initiates it for 32 loops. And then for each of the 32 loops, if you are pressing the A button, it carries on the jump. Otherwise, it doesn't jump. And if there's no force going in the Y direction, it falls. That is the player. So, for example, if I press A here and release it here, I will go this high. Whereas, if I do press A and then release it up here, that goes for the full 32 loops and then it will go down. This allows you to stop the jump at any time. So whilst this may not have been in the intended design specifications, it is significantly better than Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. So what we can learn from this is that good game design is about giving the player more control. That game design is about giving a player an option and giving the player more control in that option. So thanks for watching. And I have to thank Doppelganger for his excellent disassembly of Super Mario Bros. ROM, all commented and everything. His link is in the description if you would like to see more. Alongside that, I have my Patreon. If you would like to view a game that I'm creating myself, or would like to support the development of that game. So, thanks for watching.